was today. And I apologize to anybody that bought a damn ticket, had to watch that. I apologize. And you damn right you should be on my butt. I deserve it. That is unacceptable.
Nice job by Wes there. Wes Miller of the Cincinnati Bearcats.
Dropping bombs.
Outside bubble there for them. Also last night, those NEC games, all chalk. Although the only one that didn't cover was St. Francis, PA, right? They only won by 3 against Wagner.
They were laying 2.5.
Oh, were they? Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
the other ones were some big numbers, right? Central Connecticut, FDU, and Long Island, all with easy wins in those NEC quarters. All right. Dallas Mavericks assistant Alex Jensen will be the new head coach at Utah for the Utes. Played at Utah. Yes. Who? Alex Jensen apparently was a big player at Utah. He will now go back and be the head coach of the Utes, and he's leaving now because college is different now. You can't wait till the season's over. They open the portal like tomorrow. So
great
you got to be there.
time to get out of Dallas.
That's very true, too. If there was ever a time, like, you guys have fun. I'm out of here. I'm off to the mountains. I'll see you later.
Good luck with this mess.
Alex Jensen will do that.
Nice knowing you, Nico.
Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey. They are the first Big Ten freshman duo to score 500-plus points since Chris Webber and Jalen Rose. Here's the difference. Chris Webber and Jalen Rose went to the Final Four. Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, they're not going to be even in the tournament.
Won't even go to the Big Ten tournament.
That's just, how sick is that?
Did you know that they're not letting every team in that tournament?
I know that. They have changed the way because they have so many teams.
Mike, those are the two highest scoring freshmen ever, and they never won. Who cares how many points they scored? They never won. They were terrible. I think, that is so amazing to me. I got to be honest now. I don't know Peichel, but if I'm running that school and I'm the athletic director and I had those two superstars playing on my team and we never won games, Peichel's gone. What? It's never going to get better than what he just had on his floor this year. They had the two greatest recruits in the school's history, and they never won a game. I would have already fired Peichel a month ago, honestly.
The bottom 3 teams, like you said, do not go to Indianapolis for the Big Ten tournament. Right now, that would be Iowa, Penn State, and Washington. Those are the 3 teams that are right now not going.
So Rutgers gets to go, but they're not doing anything.
Well, you got to remember, though, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 teams that are 7-12 in the conference, and Iowa is 6-12. So Iowa plays tonight against Michigan State, right? So they're probably going to be 6-13. So going into the last game, there's some tiebreaker things that could happen. Rutgers would be the 11th seed right now and play Nebraska in the first day next week. So Rutgers is in right now.
They're perfect for one another. They both stink.
Right. Rutgers, Nebraska. Indiana, by the way, would play Oregon on the second day right now of the Big Ten tournament.
That'll be a great game. Today. Maybe this time the one team won't go to the line 21 times to Indiana 7. Maybe this time they'll have a 11-10 in terms of free throws, or 12-10, or 9 each instead of 21-7 for that fixed game in Eugene that they handed to the Ducks and Indiana was winning, but the refs stole it from them and handed it to Dana Altman. And anyone who watched the game saw it happen with their own eyes. That game was taken from them by the refs. Those refs were hairdryer city. They were awful. What they need to do is keep those 3 refs out of Indianapolis at the Big Ten tournament. Keep them the F out of there, because those 3 hacks, they should be doing high school games or middle school games.
Well, for Indiana, I'm just going to give you the scenario here. What this last game against Ohio State is also going to determine is if they win that game, they won't play on Wednesday, and they would play their first game Thursday. If they lose that game, they're then going to fall back and have to play on Wednesday in that opening day against one of the bottom feeders of the Big Ten to try to get to Thursday. So that's right, also on the.
I don't even care about all of that. They're not winning the Big Ten tournament. What I'm worried about is if they lose to Ohio State, they're going to be first 4 out of the NCAA tournament. You lose to Oregon and then go home and lose to Ohio State, You're not getting in the NCAAs again. That game in Bloomington at Assembly Hall is their biggest game of the year. They have to win that game. I don't care if it's by 1 or 10. They got to win the game. And I got to tell you, mark my words, they're going to be in trouble in that game. Every time they play that goddamn Ohio State team in Bloomington, they have problems. Since I was in my mother's womb.
They do have problems with them all
And the same thing in football.
Sure.
They can't beat Ohio State in anything. Swimming, tennis, golf, nothing. Pinochle,
AP
dice,
AP top 10. AP top 10 teams undefeated in the last 3 weeks. There's only 3 of them: Michigan State, Houston, and Duke. They are the only ones undefeated in the top 10 the past couple of weeks.
I think all 3 of them can go to the Final Four.
I think all 3 of them could too. Tom Izzo ties Bobby Knight and Ward Lambert 11 Big Ten regular season championships, tied for the most now. Congrats, I guess, to Tom Izzo.
Well, what happens is, let's just get down to business here. What happens is coaches die, and they either retire or die, and then legendary coaches that have been around forever, like Izzo, catch up to him. And then he's going to stop coaching, and then someone will pass him. So I think Tom Izzo has been a great coach, a great champion. He's won a ring, and he's won 11 Big Ten titles. And I also don't think he's a better coach than Bob Knight. Not even close. Bob Knight won 3 national championships. He had a team that went undefeated, the only team to ever go undefeated. And he also won the Olympic and Pan Am gold. And he stuffed a cop in a garbage can when he won the gold medal in Puerto Rico. When he was done, he just picked up a cop, 6'6", 300 pounds, and stuffed his ass in a garbage can, got on the plane and flew out and never got arrested. Now that's when you know you're a badass, when you can stuff a cop in a garbage can and get away with it. That is awesome. Woo! All night long.
Have one job: to make bells ring. And we do exactly that by giving you the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Tony Desiri. NFL, the Dallas Cowboys have reportedly reworked the contract for quarterback Dak Prescott to create $36.6 million in cap space. The Cowboys converted $45.75 million of Prescott's base salary into a signing bonus, reducing his cap figure from nearly $90 million to just over $53. Cowboys have created over $56 million in cap room by restructuring not only the contract of Prescott, but also wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. College football, Oregon head coach Dan Lanning agreeing to a new contract, raising his average salary to $11 million a year. Lanning has gone 35-6 in 3 seasons coaching the Ducks. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and this has been your SportsGrid Sports Flash.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go: shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms: irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
If sports talk stations were buffets, we'd be the one with the line out the door where every night is rib night and you came alone because the crowd gives you a measure of cover so you won't get any grief for going back 9 times. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
All right, let's look at the racks of ribs we got going on tonight. I mean, we have just been absolutely cleaning up for people, Carver High, with college basketball winners, Christ, NBA, NHL. What don't we hit, honestly?
Let me give you first non-conference tournament games. So these are just some singular games in some of these conferences that are still finishing out the regular seasons. FAU is at UAB tonight. In the American. Good one in Conference USA. Liberty and Middle Tennessee. Middle Tennessee short favorite at home. Michigan State, we mentioned, laying it on the road at Carver Hawkeye against Iowa. How about the Anteaters tonight? Laying 7.5 at UC Davis. Long Beach State travels to UC San Diego. 22.5. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I actually think they'll impale them. I do. They're at home. They win that game by 30 or more. And I like Irvine on the road, too. And I love Michigan State on the road. I don't care where that game is, at Carver Hawkeye or otherwise. Michigan State's too much for Iowa. They got nothing but problems right now. Their coach, good old Fran, he might be getting whacked in Iowa City. Middle Tennessee and Liberty. I mean, that's a hell of a game. Middle Tennessee at home is the play, right? They're at home. They're only laying 1. And that 23-win Liberty team, that's going to be a hell of a game. I still like UAB, even though that number is 5.5. I think, FAU's decent in Boca. But going into Birmingham, I think UAB gets it done at home and covers.
Next up, Horizon quarterfinals tonight. So, of course, we had the first round the other night.
Now we at the team's home. They're at the team's home. The higher-seeded team is at home. All those teams, Youngstown, Milwaukee, Bobby Moe, and Cleveland State are all at home.
All at home. Purdue at Youngstown. Youngstown short favorite here, -1.5. Also, Oakland and Milwaukee. Milwaukee at home, 8.5 for them. Wright State visiting Bobby Moe. Bobby Moe minus the 6.5, and Cleveland State -3.5 against the Norse, Northern Kentucky.
Look, I love Youngstown. I'm a Penguin guy. I've always done shows there. Great fans, great people. And I'll take Purdue Fort Wayne in that game at Youngstown. I like Milwaukee at home. I like Bobby Moe at home. Chalk. And then I like Cleveland State and Northern Kentucky. That's the thing about that game. Cleveland State and Northern Kentucky, I still think Cleveland State covers that number. It went from 4.5 to 3.5. People are jumping on them. I still like Cleveland State at home. I really do. The only one I'm taking a shot with on the road is Purdue. Purdue Fort Wayne.
Patriot League quarters tonight. Same deal. These games are on the floor of the higher seed. Loyola is at Bucknell tonight. You have Lafayette at American. Navy visiting Boston U. And Army and Colgate tonight in the Patriot.
Okay. Let's get down to business here. Bucknell is they're going to cover that number and settle down and handle Loyola, Maryland. The Lafayette and I got to find this game. The Lafayette and American game. I don't understand why they don't just put them all together. Lafayette and American. I can't believe I got to go searching for this stuff. Lafayette and American. That's 4. You got to be kidding me, Carver High. Because I have this down here. I got to get this right. It's important that we get this right. Lafayette and American. There it is. I like American there at home, and I got them at -4 this morning. BU. I like BU at home. This is I saw it. I got it this morning. I like it even better now. It was 2.5. Now it's 1.5. I like it at home, and I like toothpaste at home too over Army. All of those teams at home are chalk to me.
Next, why don't we go to the Missouri Valley? We've talked about their afternoon games. They have 2 night games in St. Louis as well. Evansville and Murray State. That's a 7 o'clock East tip. And then after that, Valpo against Illinois Chicago, who's laying 3.5 against Valpo. Then I've got the Sun Belt for you in Pensacola, where this evening you will have Georgia Southern and Georgia State. Southern minus 2.5. And then Old Dominion catching 6.5 against Texas State.
All right, first of all, I think Murray State wins that game, but I bet they don't cover. I think that number's too much. I think that's a really good 7-10 game. Evansville covers. I like Illinois Chicago over Valpo. And that Georgia, and that, you told me those games are on the road in Pensacola. Is that what you said?
Those are all in Pensacola. Those are neutral site. Pensacola for the Sun Belt.
Yeah, that Georgia Southern game. I just got to get this right. Georgia Southern. Hold on. Bear with me. I got to find it. It's important that I get this right. It just drives me nuts. Georgia Southern. There it is. Yeah, I like Georgia Southern to win that game against Georgia State, and I got it at 2, laying 2 this morning. And then the Texas State game, God almighty, it's just painful looking for them. I mean, it is. You would think they'd just keep them together, for Christ's sakes. Texas State. I like Texas State in that game, but I don't like them to cover that number. I like Old Dominion in the points, 6.5.
And finally, semifinals in the ASUN tonight. Jacksonville and North Alabama at North Alabama, and Queens are at Lipscomb, 9.5 there. Also, Summit tournament tonight. Kansas City, after the win last night, plays Omaha, Denver, St. Thomas in the other game.
All right, so I think the Northern Alabama, that's going to be a great game. Jacksonville covers the 6.5. North Alabama wins the game. I think Gabe's right. Queens will cover to 9.5. Lipscomb will win the game, but won't cover to Wood. I like Kansas City with 3.5 against Omaha, and I like St. Thomas of Minnesota to handle Denver and spank that ass.
There you go. If you have any stragglers, and I don't know if there are any, but if you do,
There are 2 kinds of people in the world. Those that listen to SportsGrid and people who don't win. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime, on the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
For anyone who's worried about back taxes, has not filed tax returns, and doesn't know what to do next, stop and listen. Not filing your taxes can have severe consequences, especially in this political climate. Now that COVID is over, the IRS is getting aggressive, massively increasing enforcement and collection efforts. With politicians making all sorts of promises, especially when it comes to taxes, hiding and not dealing with your taxes will cause you harsh legal and financial ramifications. But right now, the IRS offers forgiveness and writes off a massive amount of tax debt. The Tax Doctor offers a free service that helps people get out of IRS collections and back in good standing with the government. Don't hide or bury your head in the sand. Take advantage of our free service. Call now to learn more. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. 800-816-4492. That's 800-816-4492.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast.
The St. John's Red Storm at 9. Don't give me that funny face, Mike.
I'm trying to figure out where you're going with this.
Well, where I'm going is that I think that Duke, Houston, Tennessee, and for me, St. John's are the 4 best defensive teams in America. I want to know how in God's name they could possibly be 9 on yours.
It's Pharrell, Coast to Coast with Scott Farrell. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. On the home of the winning edge, the SportsGrid Radio Network. You're listening to SportsGrid, spreading the winning edge far and wide. Terrestrial, internet, TV, satellite, and don't forget our mobile app. The winning edge is everywhere. Somewhere there's a squirrel frustrated he can't get a phone. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Of stragglers, Carver High. I'm going to go Marist, getting one at home from Merrimack. I play with a dude, 2 of them that played at Merrimack. I play with all the time. I'm going to still bet against them. I like Ryder over Canisius, lay it. I like Fairfield in the 7.5 at Siena. I like Mount St. Mary's getting 9.5 at Quinnipiac. I really do. And then it goes on from there. I'll take Tulane on 5 at East Carolina. And then I'll take the 5 with New Mexico State at Louisiana Tech. I don't buy them either. I like UTEP getting 2 at Sam Houston. I like Delaware State over Eastern Shore. I like South Carolina State over North Carolina Central. I like Western Kentucky over FIU laying the number. I like Wichita laying 1 at Rice. It goes on from there. I like Alcorn at Mississippi Valley. They're awful. I like Southern laying 5.5 at home against Alcorn State. Or I think it's Alabama State. Southern over Alabama State laying the 5. I did lay that 5. It's 5 and a hook now. I like Grand Canyon laying 16 and a hook against Utah Tech. I like North Texas, the green, whacking Charlotte tonight. I like Bakersfield over Hawaii. And then a couple more. I like Poly over Fullerton. And I like Northridge laying the 1 at Riverside. Boom. Stragglers.
Lots of stragglers, indeed, for us there. Nice job. College rack. For tonight. And next week's going to be great. Afternoon games next week, which I'm looking forward to.
It's the greatest thing ever.
Why don't we start the hockey, and then
Everybody loves hockey.
I do the live stuff with Brady, we'll get through tonight's games. Caps did beat the Rangers 3-2 at the Garden last night in overtime. Now, normally I would play you the overtime winner in a game like this. But that's not what we're going to do today, because when a guy is 9 away from tying and 10 away from breaking a NHL record, and he's now scored 885 goals. You give him the juice. Ovi on TNT last.
To the front for Mangiapane, and he scores! Alexander Ovechkin! 9 away from 99. 10 from the all-time record.
31st goal here at Madison Square Garden for the Grade 8.
31 at the Garden.
Man, honestly, this guy. And you know what's great about him is he gets excited as any goal. Every goal, he gets so excited when he scores. He loves scoring, and he doesn't.
Yep.
Like a lot of guys, like McDavid scores, you'd barely know he scores. He's so bored with it. I'm so great. Yep. And then, Lemieux used to do that too. Like he'd score and he'd be like, he wouldn't even flinch. Guys that score a lot, it's no big deal. Not with Ovechkin. He celebrates every goal he has. And I like that about him.
Yeah, he certainly does. And he's now getting a little bit closer as the week, about 20 games to go. So he's got to basically do 1 every 2 games. And he's going to be able to get there. Sens beat Chicago 4-3 in overtime. Vegas beat Toronto last night. Canucks beat the Ducks. And the Blues beat the Kings in a shootout 3-2, a rare loss at home for the LA Kings. NHL trade deadline tomorrow. There's a lot going on. There's still some names people think might be moved. Now, you remember the Mikko Rantanen deal from Colorado to Carolina. about a month ago. Well, they have tried to sign Ranton into a long-term deal. Thought, show him around for a month. Hopefully he likes it. He stays. He is not going to commit to that. There ain't much to see in Raleigh. He is not going to commit to that before tomorrow afternoon. So allegedly, Carolina, they've got a decision to make. Do they want to flip him and get something back, or do they want to go for the run? Now, when you're a team that's been one of these favorites to win every year for the last 3 years, might as well put the hammer down. You know, they did it with Gensel last year, and they lost him for nothing. So maybe they don't want to taste that in their dinner again. But
that's exactly
they got
what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. So they're going to trade him.
I would think that that's very possible at this point. Anaheim trades Brian Dumoulin to the Devils for a second-round pick. The Penguins traded Desharnais to San Jose for a fifth. They traded Bunting
I didn't
to
even
Nashville
know he was on
for
the team.
Luke Shen and Tommy Novak as well. So we'll have a lot of trades hopefully tomorrow on C2C as with the deadline happening. Tommy Novak.
Who is that?
Non-SportsGrid listener. Now, 1, someone who doesn't have the winning edge. 2, a frustrated sports gamer. Synonym, Steve. Loser. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Tony Desiri. NFL, the Dallas Cowboys have reportedly reworked the contract for quarterback Dak Prescott to create $36.6 million in cap space. The Cowboys converted $45.75 million of Prescott's base salary into a signing bonus, reducing his cap figure from nearly $90 million to just over $53. Cowboys have created over $56 million in cap room by restructuring not only the contract of Prescott, but also wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. College football, Oregon head coach Dan Lanning agreeing to a new contract, raising his average salary to $11 million a year. Lanning has gone 35-6 in 3 seasons coaching the Ducks. Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and this has been your SportsGrid Sports Flash.
There are lots of reasons to get excited for spring. Warmer weather, get-togethers, and now new spring arrivals from your favorite brands at Macy's. Even more exciting, refresh your beauty routine at our Buy More, Save More event. Pick up new skincare, makeup, and fragrances from Estee Lauder, Valentino, MAC, and more. And save $30 with every $150 you spend. The more you spend, the more you save. Don't wait. Beauty deals this good won't last long. Hurry into Macy's tomorrow. Savings off regular price beauty and fragrance. Exclusions apply.
At Skechers, we put the S in comfort. Now, I know you're probably spelling comfort in your head and asking yourself, is that possible? Am I just a really bad speller? Look, I don't know your spelling aptitude, but Skechers most definitely put the S in comfort because Skechers is the comfort technology company and has developed fits and features that change everything you know about comfort, like hands-free Skechers slip-ins, the ultimate in comfort and convenience. It's footwear you just step into and they're on with no bending down. Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
There's a lot of sports talk out there, but SportsGrid is different. We have credibility. We earn your trust every day with rock-solid strategies and information. The winning edge. So put your money where our mouth is. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we are back for Coast to Coast here on a Thursday, hour number 3. Here with you. Of course, we have a lot of golf going on. We're watching the Arnold Palmer with Shane Lowry, the Irish Bear, now in the lead after that eagle. A couple of other guys at 3 under getting involved too. But we have Live starting tonight. That's right. On the East Coast, 11 o'clock East. West Coast, 8 o'clock Pacific, because they are in Hong Kong. They'll be over there in the Far East for the next couple of weeks. Brady Cannon is with us, of course, whenever we have Live picks to get things cooking. Brady, good to see you as always, my man. And before we do get to the Live, me and you talked on the radio show last night. We both liked Justin Thomas, obviously, this week, a couple other guys. I got to tell you, I was cursing him 4 over through 4, but he's fought back pretty well here, Brady, to get himself in position for to not get blown out of the water. He's back in the mix now to even par.
Well, I tell you what, there's still a lot of wind up there out in Orlando, but I think these guys in the afternoon wave have gotten a little bit of a break. It's not a glaring break, but I think the wind was more brutal in the morning wave, in the neighborhood of 20, 25 mile an hour gusts, and it's starting to die down just a hint here in the afternoon. So, you're seeing a couple of opportunities here for eagles on the 16th hole. We didn't see that as much in the morning. So, it's probably about a 5, maybe even 10 mile an hour difference in wind in some cases. And that obviously makes a difference for professional golfers. So these guys in the late wave catching a little bit of a break, not huge, but you're seeing some scores improve.
Well, look, there's the morning guys, a lot of them got smashed. I mean, we saw some guys, 7s, 8s. Homa at 9. I mean, a 10 for Cameron Forever Young. I mean, there was some guys who really got beat up. But some of those guys haven't been playing well either, Brady. So it's not just the weather. You got a few guys in that mix that have not been good. Tonight, Liv back as they go to Hong Kong. Of course, this is the second year in a row that they're going to be there. Abraham Answer was a winner there a year ago. Good field, as always, with Liv. Tell me a little bit about this course that they're going to be playing at here for the second year in a row.
Yeah, the Hong Kong Golf Club, and this course has been around for decades. Like, it's right there with Augusta National as far as golf courses around the world that have consistently held a tour event, for so many years. It is at the top of the list right there with Augusta National. So this one has been around on the European tour for decades. It's a very congested, shorter golf course, and that's where I landed on being accurate off the tee. It's not particularly long. It's a par 70, only 6,700 yards, but very narrow off the tee. So you've got to be really accurate off the tee, and then you have to be dialed in with your irons and your wedges. And so I went after guys, that have that type of game, accurate players off the tee that can stuff it in there with the iron, and then you hope to get a hot putter for a few days. But it's certainly not a course. And you look at last year, you talk about Abraham Answer. I mean, he's proof of the pudding, one of the most accurate drivers of the golf ball in the world, and he came out on top. Interesting to note, though, that Bryson DeChambeau also had a pretty good finish, I believe a top 10, last year for Live Hong Kong. And obviously he's a bomber, but it's really not a bomber's track. And so I gravitated towards the more accurate, shorter hitters. And I know you and I both landed on Sergio Garcia, who happens to be ranks number 2 on the Live circuit in driving accuracy.
He does. Bryson T6 last year at Hong Kong for the Live. And there was a three-way tie. They had a three-way playoff last year. Answer beat Paul Casey and Cameron Smith in that playoff a year ago. Let me give you, of course, now the Live, look, it's really the same every tournament, Brady, when it comes to who's the chalk at the top.
Yeah,
like, it really,
right.
The course doesn't really matter. You know that John Rahm and Neiman and Hatton and Bryson are going to be those guys that are going to be the favorites. And there it is right there. I mean, Rahm plus 550 and Neiman kind of right there behind him. Some of those guys slipping down. That Brooks number's been getting a little bigger and bigger each week.